What we have here today is a 44-inch Hunter Innova ceiling fan. This particular fan is from 1996. It is a 3-speed electrically reversible fan. White finish with faux granite blades that are reversible to plain white on the top. Fan is flush mounted. It can be installed on the down rod as well. See, there's the info sticker on the top there. The Innova was a rather obscure Hunter from the early 90s. These things were introduced sometime around 1990, 1991. And I think 1996 here was the last year that these were sold. These things came in 2 different sizes. Very early on, you also get one in 52-inch, which either was in a textured white finish or like a granite finish, textured gray or whatever. And the blade tips were angled. They weren't rounded like this. Pretty interesting. Those are pretty hard to find. I don't think any collector has one as of yet, but I could be wrong. Those are only available for a year or two. Then the 44-inch one, these came in 4 different finishes. You had white, you had brushed chrome, polished copper, and even polished brass. Polished brass one was one of the hardest to find finishes, because those are only available for maybe 2 years at the most. Polished copper went out in 1994, after 1994 I think. And then when this fan was sold in 96, you can either get them in white or brushed chrome. This fan uses a 172 millimeter motor, just like every other 52-inch Hunter. Blade pitch I'd say somewhere around 10.5 degrees. It's typical for what 44-inch Hunters are. Integrated dome light with 2 medium base sockets in there. Obviously, the pull strings are not original. These fan would have actually had a similar set where there would have been a ring with a bulb, and then it had another ring, of course, with the fan embossed in it. Those are special pull fobs these fans had to delegate between what's lighting fans, so I just did the next best thing I can get here. So, let's start off with the light. This fan actually kind of has a design flaw. And what that is that this light here is because you got the switch components housed in this switch housing here. And of course the light sockets are literally bolted right underneath of it. And so your wiring for your motor is completely exposed right directly next to the light bulbs. And back in 1996, in the early 2000s, there was no such thing as LED light bulbs. It's all incandescent. So what happens over time? The wires get brittle, they fall apart. These things also had a Molex plug connector in them as well. So you can disassemble that switch housing, take it completely off the fan as well. And they even, with the heat, ruins the bearings. So this fan has a replacement motor in it out of a Summer Breeze. And of course, I had to eliminate the Molex connectors, so that bottom piece of the switch housing is permanently attached to the fan, but you can still remove the blades entirely with no big deal. You can easily access them by taking that globe off and taking the screws out easily. But otherwise, it's a cool fan. Definitely a pretty neat piece. And we'll start it up. blows a bit fast. You can hear the hum. These things apparently, I think, were always plagued with the hum, just the way they're designed. Take it to medium. And here's high. As you can see, this thing does a pretty good speed on high. Probably doing roughly around 220 RPM. Throws out a pretty decent breeze. Despite even, it still has a shallow 10.5 degree blade pitch. But these are decently powerful for what they are. It's got a bit of a wobble to it. That wooden shim that you see up on top of the canopy I had to put up there so it wouldn't wobble any worse. Because the way I have to mount fans now in this box, and if I didn't have that shim, it would wobble a lot worse than this. Because the mounting plate don't seat up with the box too well anymore. But otherwise, pretty smooth runner. The original motor had pretty bad bearings. They made all kinds of noise with this motor. Bearings on there are still in good shape. They hardly make any noise. While this thing coasts down, let me go ahead and give you up close of the inside of this globe here. I'm going to have to put the camera down so I can take it down safely. So bear with me here as I get this globe taken off. And show you what we got going on here within the fan. Yeah, you can see where you can easily access the blade mounting screws. You can see the motor in there. It takes up the whole housing virtually. There's the two sockets. And there's the wiring going into the actual switch housing. That's where the pull chains and the capacitors are housed in. There was a Molex connector that was just hanging loose right there that you could take off. So this plate here, as you can see, can be removed. Which, of course, I just had to wire it in permanently like this. But like I said, you can still get the blades off the motor, no problem. It's a bit of a design flaw. There's no protectant. So, of course, these wires over time will just get too brittle and they start falling apart. That's what happened to this thing. So yeah, that was the only flaw with these things. Otherwise, they're a pretty good fan. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video on this 42-inch Hunter Innova ceiling fan from 1996. So we'll be seeing you next time. Take care. Peace.